Hi, you guys. So it's Friday, happy Friday, right before Easter. And I thought I'd take a quick second to do two things. One, kind of update you on what's going on for me in terms of writing, but also I'm in a little bit of a writer's rut this week. And so I wanted to kind of go over a couple of things that are sort of helping me uh, in my quest to finish this book, which is fighting me. In fact, Felix and Rose is fighting me more than any of the other books in the Shining One series ever thought of fighting me. It hasn't been pleasant. I'm still only about halfway through. I'm going to miss my deadline by about a month. Yep, I said that out loud. And, but that's okay. It happens. You know, sometimes I just want to get it done. I have an obligation to have this book out for October for a box set. But that aside, so I'm hoping to finish up Felix and Rose, fingers crossed. 1st of June, I think, which gives me plenty of time to have it edited and ready to go before it goes into the Other Worlds box set in October, which brings me to my second piece of news. The box set that I'm going to be in, which is paranormal romance and science fiction romance, now has a name. It is called Other Worlds. It'll be out, I think, October the 18th, although don't quote me on that. I don't know why I want to make it the 18th. It's sometime, I think, mid-October. I'm very excited working with 20 other very talented authors on that. And we're having absolute blast. We're scared to death, petrified, because we're actually going to try to make lists, which means in this box set we are going to we're going to aim for USA Today bestseller. And if we are super lucky, we might make New York Times. But we are definitely aiming for USA Today. And the work has just begun on that. So I'm desperate to get this book finished so I can get on to Destroyer. Because once we get closer to the pre-order time on the box set, it's just going to be chaos. What else is going on? I'm going to be at RavenCon in 2 weeks. Two weeks before I'm in Williamsburg. I'll be there around and about. I'm going with my lovely friend Shauna, who will be my assistant. Hello, Shauna. I don't know if she's prepared or not, but I think she's currently reading the books just to get up to speed. So we'll see. We're going to have a good time, if nothing else. And yeah, just really rough week for writing. So, which is sort of the reason why I wanted to bring up a couple of things that have helped me that might help you, especially for some of my author friends. So, sometimes characters are really hard to come together. Sometimes they're so perfect in your head, you're right there. They're in your face, they're screaming at you. It's easy to write their story. And some days they just go silent, and it's when it does that, it's actually quite frightening because you're sort of wondering why they're not speaking to you, why they're not easily kind of forming in your head. Most of my characters for Shining Ones were they were so vibrant and in my head and so real that it was easy to write their stories. Their motivations were quite clear to me. And this book, it's a darker series dealing with much more difficult subject matters. So I've had a hard time figuring out what drives some of these characters so they're not just terribly horrible human beings and villains. So some things that have helped me this week that I wanted to bring to everybody's attention, especially for the authors, are a couple books that I think are well worth investing in, or books similar to them. First and foremost, every author on the planet probably sings the praises of this book. Can you see this? The Emotion Thesaurus by Angela Ackerman and Becky Puglisi. I'm sorry if I murdered your name. This book is amazing. It is well worth whatever I paid for it, which is very much. Can you see that? It's an amazingly great book where it goes through a host of emotions, and basically gives you sort of physical cues of the manifestations of those emotions, which is actually quite important when you're writing a book, especially when you're sort of supposed to be showing, not telling. You know, we're told forever about show, don't tell. This book was great, lovely. It's in my reference section. It stays in my reference section. You can probably get some free version of it online too. I went ahead and got the paid one. it's invaluable. That's good. Second thing, a body language book. So this is was only $8 at Barnes & Noble. It's not even my book. It's my husband's book. This is not my favorite body language book. Alan Pease and his wife write a bunch of books on body language that are very accessible, very digestible in small chunks, easy to read, well worth having at least one and going through. I had to read a whole bunch of these for an executive management course back in the day, and it makes a huge difference how many physical cues that we unconsciously pick up from people when we're speaking with them, especially when they're lying, they're being deceitful, or they're aroused, or they're scared. There's tons of things that you just don't even think about. As a writer, you have to be very aware of. This is a great book. And finally, one of my favorites. Man, I love John Ronson. He is just like, there's everything about that man is amazing. But he has written this, you've seen this around, the psychopath test. I have a villain in my book who's a psychopath. And this book, I've already read this book once. I'm in the middle of reading it again. Some people may not agree with this book, but I actually think he makes some pretty salient points about distinguishing a psychopath and sort of what their mannerisms are, and how we probably all know one somewhere in our life. Trust me, you know a psychopath, whether you believe it or not. There's at least one. I mean, something like ridiculous, like 85% of all CEOs or something are psychopaths. And I think it's like at least 10 or 20% of the population, maybe higher. Anyhow, great book, good read, perhaps slightly uncomfortable read, but still a good one. And these books are kind of helping me get through my writer's block. Oh God, my arm's falling off. My writer's block a little bit this week. And I have a whole bunch more, but for those of you who are in the writing business, I think, researching character and character motivation really does help get you out of the rut. Sometimes, writer's block happens to the best writers, and it's not really block as much as, it's hard to explain. It's not that you don't know what to write, you don't know how to write it. So, that sort of stuff helps. I've just rambled on for like almost 8 minutes. Anyhow, have a great Friday. I'm going to have to redo this video, almost guaranteed. It's way too long. But anyhow, yeah, I'll catch you on the other side, you guys. Take care. Bye.